Assalamu alaikum. Thank you, sir.
Okay, beta Noorul Huda. It's a very attractive name. What is the meaning of your name?
So this name basically means the light of right guidance.
All right. Each one of us is going to ask you 4 or 5 questions on the subjects that you have studied, and also general questions about Pakistan and all. Islamabad happens to be your favorite city. Now, would you like to tell us who designed the master plan of the city?
So it was done during Ayub Khan's presidency, during his tenure. However, I don't exactly recall the name of the person.
It was done by a Greek architect. Nahi yaad.
No, sir, I cannot recall.
Konstantinos Doxiadis. All right. Now, Islamabad is suffering from an acute shortage of water. The whole country is doing that, but specifically Islamabad. Would you think that the decision to shift the capital to that particular place was the correct decision, or should it have been shifted somewhere else, keeping in view the acute shortage of water? For example, across the Margalas, close to the Khanpur Dam.
So actually, when this decision was taken back in the time, the main presumption behind the decision was the fact that Islamabad happened to be actually away from the basic commercial and business activities, and the center of the commercial activities happened to be Karachi. So the president decided to make it farther from that region in order to make it more inclusive and more diverse, and to make it more representative of the population of Pakistan, and to even make it more accessible to all the population as well.
That's true, but that's not the answer to my question.
So the acute shortage of water has happened over the course of time. We have observed that the underground water level has decreased. However, at that time when this decision was made, there was no such report of a decreasing level of water. So I believe that's the reason why this was not kept in.
Okay, let's move on. Pakistan is out of the FATF grey list. Now, I want your views. What steps should the country take to remain out of the grey list?
So we need to address all the concerns by means of which we had been put in the list in the first place. For instance, we have to make sure that our entire money laundering and terror financing inputs are well in place. And we are taking the measures that will ensure that this practice, which has actually taken us out of the list, keeps on going. We need to make sure that our customs and other intelligence departments not work in silos, rather they actually collaborate with each other in order to bring more efficiency and in order to make it more effective for the rest.
Okay. One of the major exports of Pakistan comprises of textile goods. Why is it that today we see Bangladesh is far ahead of us in the export of textile goods? Now, whereas they don't even produce one pod or bud of cotton. How did this happen?
So I would like to quote what was done in 1978 when Mr. Noor Khan actually incentivized the labor efficiency and invested in the human capital development. He sent the people of Bangladesh to South Korea so as to make them more sensitized with how the labor is working towards manufacturing and not just exporting the raw material. Now, Bangladesh is working on ready-made garments, and this one point actually differs from what we are doing in Pakistan. Pakistan is more focused on exporting the raw material, cotton. However, Bangladesh has been more focused on producing ready-made garments, RMGs, and this is where Pakistan needs to learn a lesson as well, that instead of exporting just raw cotton, we need to make sure that we are more incentivizing our labor and human capital development. Also, we are working towards producing and exporting ready-made garments instead of just sending our raw cotton, because that will put us on a better comparative advantage as well.
We have seen that in recent months, there has been a surge in terrorism in Pakistan. And TTP is being blamed for this. Sometimes they take the responsibility themselves. Now, what is the way out? Should we invite them and sit with them on the negotiating table, or should there be a military action against them? I need your views on that.
So I believe over the course of history, we have observed that our policy of appeasement with the terrorist outfits has not actually yielded us any good. Therefore, I come to this conclusion that the policy of appeasement must be put aside, and a kinetic military action that involves not only eradicating the terrorism from the grassroots level, but also involves sensitization of the masses and bringing all these strata of society on one table to counter it is important, and that is what we need at most.
Okay, my last question. What is CASA 1000?
So CASA 1000 is basically a renewable energy initiative that actually took place in 2016. It aims at supplying extra energy from Kyrgyzstan and Tajikistan to Afghanistan and Pakistan. It would include around 1300 megawatts of electricity in this project. However, we are still in the process of completing it.
What does CASA stand for, and what does 1000, the figure 1000 mean?
So CASA stands for Central Asia, South Asia. However, I'm not sure about the word 1000.
You were supposed to get 1000 megawatts. 300 were to go to Afghanistan, therefore 1000. But then now it has been decided, the Afghans said they don't need it, so all the electricity will be coming to us. Thank you. Over to you.
Indus Water Treaty has been a very important breakthrough. What has been the background of this treaty? Why were the two countries had to sit down and sign that treaty?
So this treaty was negotiated with the help of World Bank between Pakistan and India due to the ongoing water crisis before 1960s. And actually, after this treaty, it was decided that the three eastern tributaries of Indus River would supply water to India, and then the western ones would supply water to Pakistan. So this was actually the landmark agreement that has awarded, and that has actually stood the test of time as well. It has mitigated the issues of crisis between India and Pakistan over water for a very long period of time. However, now recently we have seen that India has been trying to unilaterally revise this treaty given the situation, and Pakistan is not ready for this because there hasn't been any certain clause in order to revise this.
What has been the process for revision or amending the treaty? Has it been laid down somewhere? Must have been laid down somewhere?
So the Vienna Convention on the Law of Treaties basically lays down the entire process as to how the treaty will be formulated, and if required, how it will be amended as well. However, we have seen that in the context of Indus Water Treaty, there has been no such clause entered into the amendment process, and if any amendment has to occur, it should involve both the stakeholders and the mediating party as well.
What have been the positive consequences of this treaty as far as Pakistan is concerned?
So this treaty has actually obstructed the way of construction of dams from the Indian side that would otherwise hamper the provision of water to Pakistan. Had there been no treaty, the provision of water from the Indian side to Pakistan would have been hampered at a drastic level, and it would have led to the severe water scarcity and other irrigation related issues on the Pakistani side as well.
When were the dams, bigger dams in Pakistan or biggest dams in Pakistan made, and why were they made? With whose help were they made?
So I'm not certain about this.
Okay, interesting. Okay. Reko Diq case has been a very important case. has been sort of there in the news items also, the breaking news also. There have been court interventions also. What is the background of the case?
So Reko Diq area basically lies in the Balochistan province of Pakistan, and it was around the year 1992 when at the first instance the Balochistan Development Authority gave licenses to the US-based company Broken Hills. This was actually an initiative in order to excavate minerals from the land of Balochistan. However, it is important to understand that a presumption, a clause was given by Pakistani side that only excavation would take place from Pakistani land, and for refining purpose, no material would be taken outside the country. However, it was reported in 2012 by Dr. Samar Mubarak Mand that a company which was later on given the stakes in the Reko Diq case, in the Reko Diq excavation process, was actually taking out gold from Balochistan, and not only taking it out but also exporting it back to their own country. So this was the start of the entire conflict, when Balochistan Development Authority cancelled the licenses of all the excavation companies, and when Tethian Copper Company took us to the International Court for the Settlement of Investment Disputes as well, and our entire litigation on the process began. However, recently we have seen that Pakistan has reached out an out-of-the-court settlement with the involved stakeholders, and now the companies will resume the work and the excavation will also take place. However, the proportion of the said shares of Balochistan are increased to 37%, and the total profit, and 37% of the total profit will go to Balochistan. On this premise, this excavation process has begun again.
Okay. NFC award is one of the most important awards as far as apportionment of money or resources are concerned. What was the latest award announced?
So it was back in 2010, and it's the last award we had. We couldn't develop a consensus over getting another NFC award due to the political economy involved in the NFC, and that's the reason we are still stuck. Besides the argument that this award has to be revised every 5 years, so we are unable to do that.
What are the factors which define or determine, based on those factors, the financial award? The most important factors that determine what the award should be.
So I can think of 4 factors. Basically, they are based on the population of that particular region.
Population is one. Okay, what else?
Then there is poverty and backwardness as well. Inverted population density of that said region.
Okay.
And so I cannot recall the next.
There are
Tax collection.
And tax collection.
Exactly.
There are provinces which agitated against the previous awards based on population. Why did they do that? And what changes were made as far as NFC was concerned?
So you are very true when you say this. And actually the claims were made by the provinces which have lesser population against the provinces having bigger population. So that's the point where other factors were also involved into making the decision out for NFC, and that's when, along with population, other 3 factors were also involved when it comes to the distribution of NFC awards.
Which provinces did benefit out of that, out of the new arrangement, and which provinces were at loss?
So I believe Balochistan and KPK would have been at a benefit after the revision, because these were the provinces having low population, and naturally Sindh and Punjab would have been at loss.
Thank you.
Noor Huda, what is your inspiration to join civil service?
So during the past few years, I have had the chance to work with the media industry of Pakistan in both public and private sectors. And that was the point when I decided that my inclinations are more towards administration rather than towards joining my own field of study. It was the point when I realized that my skills and my abilities make me a better suitable candidate for administration rather than this. Also, My father has motivated me a lot to pursue administration, and that's one reason why I had been trying to get into the civil service.
Okay. So your interaction with media in a way has been helpful in determining your choice. How the role of media has evolved over the last maybe 5 years?
So we have seen that with the advent of digitization in the media industry, the entire landscape of media has evolved from what it was back in the early years of Pakistan. Actually, now the citizen journalism has enabled every particular citizen and every particular individual of the country to come out of his shell and to start reporting and to start analyzing what has been happening around. Although this has done more harm than good, because naturally all the citizens are not media sensitized and are not equally capable to analyze the events as per the requirements of media industry. However, it has also been helpful in giving voice to the concerns of people and allowing people to exercise their freedom of opinion and freedom of expression.
It is said that Pakistan has not been able to realize its great agricultural potential. So what 3 reforms would you recommend which you think are needed to make a turnaround?
So I believe we need to diversify our crop production at the first thing. For that matter, we can actually incline ourselves towards crop zoning. That is, we dedicate certain areas to produce certain crops so that the areas that can produce best yields of those certain crops can be used to our own advantage. For instance, in the recent years, we have seen that South Punjab has started irrigating more sugarcane instead of cotton. However, the land in South Punjab is more feasible for the production of cotton. But due to market concerns and other market forces, our inclinations towards agricultural productions are not very educated. Our choices are not very educated. Secondly, I believe that instead of resorting to flood irrigation systems, we need to delve deeper into the modern techniques like sprinkler technique and others that are being used universally and around the world as well. Lastly, I believe that we need to improve our soil health as well, and this can be done through terracing and using other techniques that are being used around the world so that we don't harm our land for temporary gains.
Okay. Then it is said that dollar as international currency is facing multiple challenges. Your take on it?
So certain recent developments have actually indicated to the fact that the ongoing era is moving more towards de-dollarization. And this term has been used by the international media and other factors as well. We have certain evidences of it as well, that China has been trying to consolidate its currency, renminbi. We have seen that Moscow has been trying to trade in rubles. Also, the emergence of BRICS with its own currency also indicates to the same. And we have also witnessed how Saudi Arabia has been trying to get more closer towards China and trade with it in their currency and has shown its agreement to it as well. So these factors do indicate the fact that there is an ongoing rise of other currencies. However, it is also a fact that the consolidated market price of dollar cannot be decreased or diminished in any time soon, and it will naturally take a lots of time for other currencies to get up and get consolidated just like dollar is.
What ails Pakistan economy that we have not been able to overcome its structural issues? What, in your opinion, are the 3 areas which need urgent attention so that we can make a turnaround in economy?
So we need to introduce market reforms. We need to incentivize human capital development rather than just trying to export the raw materials and not producing valuable products and not working on the value addition of the products. We need to work more on these areas. Secondly, there is a need that we enable the youth bulge of Pakistan to be better competitive and to be more inclusive into making the economy more self-reliant. Rather than exporting the raw materials, we need to induce market reforms, and we also need to diversify our market approaches as well. We need to diversify our resources, and we need to touch the Central Asian and other markets as well, rather than just being inclined towards European Union and the markets we have been traditionally inclined to for many long years.
Okay, the last question, difference between IMF and the World Bank.
So, IMF and World Bank are generally considered the two institutions that deal with the global financial issues. However, IMF is more inclined towards working as a watchdog over the states and to provide them with loans and provide them with debts so as they can do better in their economies. However, when it comes to World Bank, the programs are more focused towards development funding and towards enabling the countries to do better than what they are doing. So it's basically the difference in the way they work. One is working towards debt provision, and the other, World Bank, the later one is working more towards development funding.
Okay, Nurul, you being a student of this mass communication and media person, a few questions from this mass communication. What are various theories regarding, one of them is magic bullet theory. Can you explain it?
So the basic presumption of magic bullet theory is that the audience that tends to receive the media content is very passive, and they don't know and they cannot differentiate between what is good for their own views. So whatever the media shows them, they are bound to accept it, no matter if they agree to it or not. And when they are bound to accept it, they naturally have to rely on media completely in building their opinions as well. So for in magic bullet theory, the individuals are basically considered to be passive, and they are completely dependent on media to build their own opinions.
Okay, how would you correlate our present day social media with reference to this magic bullet theory?
Sir, I believe social media has actually opened many vistas for the people, and the magic bullet theory is not very relevant when it comes to the social media and other digital media because people are very opinionated and they are not hesitant in being vocal about what they think. So now audience is not passive, rather very active when they consume the media content.
Okay, you have opted for the international relations too?
Yes, sir.
What is the Estrada doctrine?
So
and who propounded it?
So Estrada doctrine takes its name from the Foreign Secretary of Mexico, Genaro Estrada, and he actually proposed that regardless of the way a country has attained its independence, or regardless of the way how a country is being governed, rather it's legal or not, rather there is authoritarian government or a democratic one, it must be recognized.
And then the next question is, what is de facto and de jure recognition with reference to this doctrine?
Yes, sir. So these are basically the two types of recognition that are generally extended towards different nations of the world, different countries of the world. In the de facto recognition, the countries are given a temporary recognition which can be withdrawn, and this recognition does not entitle the particular country to be a part of the UN or to be entitled to the succession rights or to be entitled to send their diplomats to other countries as well. However, in the de jure recognition, we have seen that the countries are entitled to all these previously mentioned rights, and this particular recognition cannot be withdrawn from them as well.
World in general and Pakistan in particular is known as victim of the climate change. Yes. What's your take over it?
So recently we have seen that the climate change has been very evident from the ongoing changes in the world as well as in Pakistan as well. The recent surge of floods and the continuous rainfall as well, regardless of the months we are in, indicates one cue to this as well. We have seen that the world is all together into dealing with the climate change as well. However, there is this concern that the steps and initiatives being taken are not in the right direction and are not equitable for all. The effects are being received by the countries which are not much contributing towards the issue at large. So there is a need that the world moves towards more equitable reforms in order to actually address the issue and not just taking it in papers and conferences.
Okay, what role media can play towards the climate change?
So media has a huge responsibility to sensitize the populations and to educate them about the right choices they can make in order to address the issue of global warming and climate change. And media stands very responsible when it comes to not only sensitization the masses about it, but also into building a channel between the policymakers, stakeholders, and the public which is being affected by it. So the concerns of the people can be channeled to the policymakers and stakeholders, and a dialogue can be made which can be ultimately very productive into addressing this.
Last question, what is your priority group?
So my priority group is Pakistan Administrative Service.
What are the major responsibilities of the fresh incumbent as Assistant Commissioner?
So the Assistant Commissioners are actually responsible to bring about the policy making which is being directed by the government. They are also responsible for the collection of the land tax and for the property tax as well. They are there to provide to make sure that all the SOPs that are being laid by the government in the face of any situation for that, and they are also there to trickle down the policies from to the grassroots as well.
You have prompted me to another question. Does the Assistant Commissioner fall in at that level of policy making?
Sir, I believe it's more about policy implementation that is being based on the direction given by these stakeholders. Thank you, sir.
Ji sir, now the time has come for us to discuss the candidate.
Sure.
What are your views about her?
She's properly dressed. She has a good verbal expression, almost appropriate communication skills, good knowledge base. She has a good energy level as well. The only drawback that I found was her eye contact. Should have been better what she had.
That's all.
That's all. That's all.
Come sir.
So I found Noor Huda as a well-rounded personality with fairly high level of confidence. Her conversational skills are also fine. She has good knowledge base both in optional and compulsory subjects. However, a little effort is needed in improving her general knowledge. One thing which is, and again, very noteworthy is that despite losing few questions, she maintained her composure. That speaks of her resilience and perseverance. And I find ample potential in her, ample potential to perform well in interview.
Thank you. Anwar Rashid sir.
Well, sir, as discussed earlier, Noor Huda is a good candidate, and I'm sure she'll make it. She has good analytical skills. She responded well, with confidence, of course. And being from mass communication as her major, she has good grasp of knowledge on international law. However, she needs to improve her hand gestures and eye contact, as pointed out by Mr. Rizwan Malik. I'm sure that she'll get through.
Good. Thank you. I think I can't agree more with you. I found that the first thing that impressed me was she was very confident and very well composed and stayed that way throughout the interview. She spoke well. Her delivery style was very impressive. Although sometimes I felt that the manner in which she was tackling the question, the sequence was not correct. Other than that, okay, body language, hand gestures, especially, and eye contact needed a little improvement. But knowledge base, solid. Energy level, very high. And I will rate her very good marks in this, and I hope she gets the service group of her choice. Thank you.